What happens when we try to involve young people in the conversations about the areas where they live? My name is Lorena Axinte. I'm part of SUSPLACE, and over the past 2.5 years I've been looking at how young people define their own city region. My research is based in Cardiff Capital Region, and I'm interested in what happens when we include young people in planning and decision making, and if we do it, how should we do it? Cardiff Capital Region is an interesting case study because it's based in Wales, and Wales has a new legislation called the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act.
The Wellbeing of Future Generations Act is about improving the social, cultural, economic and environmental well-being of Wales. It has 7 national well-being goals and 5 ways of working. So it's both about what we do for the well-being of our children and our children's children, but how we do it as well.
When I heard about the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act, I thought it's a good framework, but why should we plan for the future generations when we can actually plan with the future generations? I invited young people to 2 different types of workshops. The first one was a web mapping workshop, which was really interesting because they would start mapping what they consider to be their region. And I also invited people to join a second workshop, which was based on a method called Photo Voice, in which people would take photos based on 3 different subjects. So I have asked young people, what makes it worth living here? What is it that you like most about this area? What is it that you like least about the area, and how would you like to see that change? How do you travel around the area? How easy is it to travel?
My name is Kieran Warburton. I'm 19 years old and I come from Abergavenny. Today we're in the Linda Vista Gardens in Abergavenny because I think it's a really nice place and it's pretty tranquil and nice to come in if you want to read a book or something. It's just a nice place in my local town. I think I appreciate most how close we are to nature, and there's just plenty of mountains in walking distance of my house. So there's just an abundance of adventures, I guess.
Hi, I'm Gwenny. I'm 23 and I live in Cardiff. I appreciate that I'm living in a capital city, but I also have so much access to green spaces and open spaces. I really enjoy walking and I love running and outdoor activities, so it's really nice to have all of the resources that a city brings, but also to be able to disconnect with that sometimes.
Young people are often experts of the areas where they live, and they know the problems that affect them, but they almost always know the solutions as well.
When I travel around Cardiff, I usually walk everywhere. I find that the public transport isn't very reliable, and when I ride a bike, unless it's in a park, I feel very uncomfortable because of the roads being quite dangerous, and people who drive cars aren't always very accommodating. The noise pollution and the actual pollution from all the traffic is having an impact on the green spaces. For example, when I go running, sometimes I feel like I'm getting a lung full of diesel smoke. And it would be really nice if that was reduced.
I was often impressed with how thoughtful young people were, and maybe I shouldn't have been, but thinking back, I don't know if when I was 18 I would have been able to have such deep conversations about the places where I lived. Or maybe I could have had them, but no one ever asked.
My name's Lucy Broom, I'm 17 years old and I currently live in Cwmbran and go to Hereford Sixth Form College. I think it's very important that you ask young people these sorts of questions about their future and what they think needs developing in their local area, because it's essentially our futures, and it might not want to encourage people to stay here if something negative happens and they can't change anything about it.
When you start posing questions, and it gets people thinking, and then maybe they start to look for changes in their own environment to make the town better, which is always going to lead to improvements.
It's good to hear a range of experiences, but young people's in particular, because that could have such an effect on how a city develops or how places develop in the future.
One message that I would like to share with my research is that on the one hand, young people are only one of the different groups of people we should engage. On the other hand, engagement should be something continuous. It can't be done once in a while. We need to try to develop long-term conversations so that we can actually improve the areas where we live.
I've seen some of the fantastic pictures that the young people have been taking across South Wales to show how they feel about their lives at the moment and the kind of hopes and dreams and strengths and weaknesses that they see. The one that I smiled most about was a picture that shows a blurred train timetable and the fact that public transport is really an issue for lots of young people, looking to their economic well-being, but also their social and cultural well-being in South Wales. How do they get around? How do they see their friends? How do they access training and work opportunities?
Young people are often underrepresented, but they're also the ones who have to live the longest with the decisions taken today on their behalf. They have the right to space just like everyone else living in their community. And by this I mean they have the right to sit at the table where the questions are asked and the solutions are chosen.